Why did we stay in Greer? Well, we grew up here, and this was our home. Our dad bought the Greer Citizen newspaper in 1942. I was 2 years old, Walter was 2 months old. He always wanted to own a newspaper. His dream was for Walter and I to grow up and take over the newspaper. Well, we kind of lived out his dream.
We felt like we had our own niche in the market, strictly covering local news, the local area high schools, sports, and that sort of thing. Our family owned the newspaper and a radio station, so we primarily had the media covered in Greer.
Back in time, there were only 3 networks. And the owner of our TV, of Channel 7 at that time was Walter Brown. And he said, about, probably in the 70s, there was rumor about other, like Fox and other TV networks coming on board. And he said, you don't have to worry about those. There are only 3 networks, NBC, ABC, and CBS. When I first moved to Greer, Dan Leach was an architect here, and he was active in the chamber, and he had been asked to see what he could do to redo the look, the facades of downtown Greer. And so he put a little committee together. Nancy Jones, her husband Hal, had a cannery here, with the Jones Brothers Cannery. She was on city council, and I can't remember all the people, but it was a Suzanne Green, who was a local artist. It was not a huge committee, but 10 or 12 of us, and we would meet once or twice a month, and we would scratch our heads and say, well, what can we do to make this place come alive? And so Suzanne and some of them said, we need to play up the fact that we've got a train station here. We could make this a little western town. Ah, what a fabulous idea. And so we could put like a pergola or something. We could put lattice across the front of everything. Maybe we could make it look like the whole town is a farmer's market, and hanging baskets, and make it look somewhat like, Herald Square in New York, where you see the hanging baskets, and right there, make it a little folksy, have the potato vines hanging from baskets and all this. So anyway, Suzanne Green drew up some drawings of that to sort of give us a little idea. We got some wonderful people involved in raising money, and these people helped us put together a master plan that we still work off of. And it was the most wonderful thing when we had money and we could then invest in Greer.
There are so many things that affect getting Greer where it is today. The standard has been that the people in Greer were progressively thinking about tomorrow.
The idea of don't build it and they'll come, but build something they want to see, want to come to, and then they will come. And then that will feed off of itself. Don't build a building or redo your whole store or come in here with a new restaurant until people have a reason to look up Greer on the map and come. And so we created Greer events. And the first thing we did was the Greer Family Festival. And we said, okay, we want it family friendly, no alcohol. We want entertainment. People in Greer like country music. Let's zero in on country music. And let's create something that will make people want to come. Good food, good entertainment. And that first year, I don't even know how many people there were there. Surely somebody knows. Thousands came. And then, as they are leaving, they're saying, well, where can we eat? I sure would like to pick up a pair of shoes while I'm here. And then the idea started churning, and then Gerard's restaurant was born. Up on the corner, that was the first restaurant that came in here. And as they say, the rest is history.
Years ago, when when we had the first phone system, we'd pick up the phone and we'd say, hello, the operator would say, number please, and for my grandmother, which was right around the corner down there, I'd say 24 please. And it was one of those communities where the operator would say, Larry, your grandmother stepped across the street to your cousin's house, call her back in a few minutes and she'll be back home. That's the type of community that this was. I had instructions that if I got into trouble, that my grandmother's house was right around the corner, my aunt's house was right next door to her, and I was always told if neither one of them are at home and you're in trouble, if you want to find a friend, go to Wood Mortuary. And that's one of the interesting things. Wood Mortuary is still in business, doing very well. And if I needed a friend today, I'd still go to Wood Mortuary because I know I'd find a good friend there.
I opened my shop in 1980, summer of 1980. I had a lot of guys that came and hung around. It seems like you had more people loafing in a barbershop then than you do now. They'd come by in the mornings and there may be 4 or 5, 6 of them just meet up there every morning and hang around, sit around, tell stories and jokes. And you know, George Beeson had to run a jewelry store in downtown Greer, and he was there every day. And great guy, you know, and he'd retired, and so he was looking for a place to hang out. So him and some of his buddies, they'd come down there every day and just hang out, you know, maybe an hour in the mornings. And George would even come back in the afternoons. I'd get 2 rounds of him. Walt Satterfield, he was a retired minister, and he came in there every day and loafed and hung around. His wife had passed away, and so Walt was probably looking for, you know, somewhere just to burn some time. Now I got a guy that comes in there every day now. He works down the street. He's an attorney, Ronnie Bruce, who everybody knows.
We had the #1 football team in South Carolina. Our American Legion team, baseball team, was one of 4 national finalists. Greer High's basketball team played for 6 consecutive state championships. So I started bragging about Greer then, and I haven't quit.
Yeah, you might add about the football team. To this day, is by far the winningest football high school team in Greenville County. It's not even close.
Well, there's an article in the paper about it today in the Greenville News.
Right, but they've won 4 state championships. That's more than any other team in Greenville County. So that's something that's a tradition in Greer is Friday night football, and it is in a lot of small towns, but it has been ever since I can remember going to my first game. My dad took me when I was, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years old. And I've been going to games ever since. I've probably seen over 600 Greer High football games.
When it was rumored, only rumored, that BMW might come to Greer, Don Wall, who was then mayor, and Ken Westmoreland, who was city administrator, put together a committee of, there may have been 20 of us. We met every week in the conference room at the hospital in Greer and talked about all of the what ifs. And we would leave there and everybody had an assignment of some kind. You call this person, you look up this, you see if you can find out information about whatever it was. It was an exciting time to think that not only BMW, not only a car dealer, but BMW, it wasn't like a Pinto was gonna be made here. I mean, we're talking about a BMW. And so that was probably one of the best things that's happened in the last few years.
The announcement that BMW was coming to Greer, that was only the largest economic announcement in the world that year. And BMW didn't come to Greer because there were a bunch of slackers in Greer. They came to Greer, yes, because of of the transportation, and yes, because of the water and the facilities and the natural lay of the land, but they came to Greer because of the people. And that's still something that's very much a part of this community today, is who we are. And it'll be a very important part of the community tomorrow, because that part of us is not going to change.
I would say the airport's been another big, tremendous factory. It is called the Greenville-Spartanburg Airport, but it is located in Greer. So Greer's the center of things, center of the universe. That's why, I could go back and make a case for that.
The best thing that ever happened for downtown redevelopment was when Citizen Building alone bought a whole half a block and put a new facility in the middle of downtown Greer. That was, to me, a major step forward in bringing Greer into the 21st century.
I hear this all the time, say, what was this town like years ago? I said, well, it's when I started in '69 down here, there were 5 jewelry stores operating in downtown Greer. I said, but this little town had a lot of traffic down here, a lot going on, and we've got a lot of restaurants now that have revived downtown.
There are a lot of downtown activities that weren't there when we started in the newspaper business. And downtown is really coming back. And so people like to get out and go to these things and participate and just be together.
There isn't anything you can't find in Greer and enjoy as part of your life. And I would say get in and be part of the community and help us grow and make tomorrow better, even better than it's going to be.
If you get involved, you'll really get drawn in to the community.
Greer's kind of a little destination place now, and anybody that comes here now, that's the first thing I hear is, oh, I love this little town. It's warm and, cozy, so.
There were a lot of people in the past that cared about one another, and that's what built this community. And that's probably something that's going to be a strong suit for us in the future.
The young people are moving in and taking up residency in the older homes where the old families of Greer lived. They're redoing the homes there, which helps the downtown base. I mean, we've already got utilities here. No point in going out from town and building another house. Let's come right down here. These young people walk their dogs at night. You see them, if you come downtown, they may stop off and get a hot dog or a hamburger, but they have embraced Greer. And that's the sign of a healthy community when you've got the 3rd and 4th generation. We've got, I think, a couple of families in our church. It's like the 5th generation. And they wouldn't think about living somewhere else. They wouldn't think about going to another church, for that matter.
Greer's a special place. I think the people care about each other. I've always said Greer's the center of the universe, so welcome. and there are a lot of things in Greer that are kind of unique that I don't think other small communities have.
Why do you love being in Greer so much? What is it about this place that has kept you here to begin with? Every time I dial the phone, I think about how blessed we are to be here and how much I love it here. I don't think you can find a better place to live than Greer.